Sometimes all it takes for me to get interested in a game is a couple descriptions and maybe a screenshot or two. So one day I learned about a game called CRW Metal Jacket, and I learned a couple things about it. CRW is a strategy game. I like strategy games. Fire Emblem is one of my favorite series of games, and I've even tried getting 100% in both Three Houses and Awakening. I got pretty far, but grinding out supports is tedious as hell. CRW is a mecha game. I like giant robots. Ever wanted to get pegged by Jehuti? CRW is real-time strategy. Oh, so it's mecha and real-time strategy. That's like 13 Sentinels. I love that game. If this is anything like a proto 13 Sentinels, then surely... Oh... CRW Metal Jacket is a PC-98 game that received a fan translation by 46 Okumen. Because of that, this game is playable in English. Outside of the Toho games, PC-98 fan translations are a rare breed. Very rarely do you ever see one, and it is a shame you don't see them more often. Because this shit looks sick as hell! It's also niche as hell. There's still a ton of games outside the PC-98 that haven't received a patch yet, so it's no surprise that teams would prioritize those instead of PC-98 games, unless they were hyper passionate about one specific game. Or, like Toho, was tied to a more popular series. When you boot up the game, you're given a bit of exposition about what's going on. The Japanese Defense Agency created the Special Mobile Corps. Composed of 8 elites, the group's objective is to fight terrorists and right-wing extremists using giant robots. You also need to remember that CRW comes from an era where a lot of the story and background isn't actually found in-game and is only located in the manual, which also happens to be translated. What isn't said in-game is that it takes place after an alternate Cold War turned hot, leading to a 20-year stretch of global wars. There are no ranks, and skill was the only criteria for entry. The unit is comprised of individuals from all walks of life, including women, cyborgs, and bioroids? Damn, now that's a term you don't hear often. We hope you'll experience emotion with these characters as they face their battles. This product was finished with the dream that senseless wars will disappear from the face of our planet. That's weirdly fucking wholesome. Press start, read some exposition, or rather, struggle to read. This shit is white text on a light background, a very poor decision that's just outright hard to read. It's not great, but now you're thrown into the thick of it. No tutorial, no how-to, nothing. Get thrown into that deep end, bitch. You're given a preset team of 4 units to work with. The most important is your commander, Reiko. Think of this as your Fire Emblem Lord. The class is Reiko exclusive, and if she dies, then that's an immediate game over. Your 3 other classes are Attacker, Defender, and Sniper. Each of these have their strengths, weaknesses, and specialty skill that they can use. Attacker can use all their equipped weapons at once in a big burst. Snipers can deal twice the damage at the cost of hit chance, and Defenders can scout an area to see past the fog of war as well as break the game. So how does this shit actually work? You're placed on an isometric grid where your actions are taken in real time. No turn-based found here. This would be one big ball-leg CBT sesh if it weren't for the fact that you're freely able to pause whenever to deliberate over your actions. Pause, set shit up, then let those fuckers know. When you start each mission, you can't see shit on the map. You can see the map, but not any enemy units on it as there is a heavy fog of war. So you've gotta march on forward and likely get jumped by enemy units you didn't see. When you're in combat, a lot of how you're able to respond is dependent on the weapons you've got equipped. Each weapon has an ammo count limiting your use per mission. Each weapon does different damage depending on whether you target an armored enemy or personnel. This is marked by the AT or AP. AT for anti-tank and AP for anti-personnel. When you use them, you're on a cooldown. If you use the SMG, for example, you've got to wait 2 in-game ticks of time before being able to use another action. If you use an ABM launcher, that's 10 ticks of time you're standing there potentially getting ass blasted. It's all about balancing that big damage and big weight and whether or not you can afford that amount of waiting or if it's better to use weaker but faster weapons. Unless you're a Defender mech. Here's some shit. The Defender class of mech is glitched, broken, and heavily exploitable. The design around a class like this is big damage, big health, big weight. They're slow, but they pack a punch and can take a beating themselves. Except that their class skill kills the drawback. A Defender can use Scout, which temporarily clears the fog of war in a small radius. This is already a great skill. Knowledge is power, and knowing what's coming up is fucking great. It's made even better because if your vision is less than your weapon's range, then you're able to use Scout to target enemies you otherwise weren't able to see. Fantastic fucking skill. But there's hidden tech. Whenever you use Scout, you're required to wait 4 in-game ticks. It doesn't add on 4, it overrides whatever your wait time is to 4. Meaning, if you use a big heavy attack to deal big heavy damage, you can instantly turn that 10 wait into a 4 wait. There's no reason not to do this and get a shit ton more actions than you're meant to with this class. It's fucking busted. Once I discovered this exploit, you best bet that I made everyone a defender. The gameplay you've been seeing is actually my second run of this game where I use that exploit from the beginning and use an all-defender team. I'm not gonna do this, but I do wonder what an all-attacker or all-sniper loadout would play like. Good news. There is no permadeath in this game. Characters blowing up is likely to happen, but it's not the end for them. They'll come back next mission just fine. There is still a drawback, however. They don't get to level up between missions. In fact, the missions where the objective isn't to rout the enemy, you can just fail and still move on to the next mission. There's a shitty escort mission with this car. You can block the car and cause it not to move, which might as well be mandatory because when this fucker got shot twice, that was mission failure. While I got to proceed to the next mission, no one got to level up. Having that bastard get shot up at the very fucking end of the damn mission made me pissed off. But I just moved on because I wasn't gonna fucking redo the previous hour. There's 8 missions in this game, averaging at about 1 hour per mission. With a low mission count, this offers up the chance for every mission to feel different, even if it usually just ends up as a rout the enemy in the end. But even then, the developers did try to give each mission a unique feel and structure. Some missions you get to take the full squad, while in others you're restricted to taking only half. In that case, I took Girl Squad and Scott. But there is the standard route and escort that I mentioned. There's also missions with separate objectives that you've got to split up your squad for, or a mission where you flank the enemy, or a mission where you've got to find and kill a certain target. I actually think that the earlier missions are harder than the endgame missions. In the early game, there's more variety in the enemy types, requiring more of a balance in your equipment. Requiring actual strategy in a strategy game? Could you fucking believe it? But as you get further, the less personnel type units there are until you get to the point where there's just armor type units, at which case the scout tech just lets you railgun the shit out of these fuckers. At that point in the game, if you know the exploit, the missions just becomes less scheme and more routine. Kill the big bad in a big robot and get the only cutscene in the game and see that ending epilogue screen. That I can't read. It's also bugged. Once you hit credits, then you're done for the game. The credits are also bugged. I don't know if the epilogue and credits are bugged in the original release or if it's just this patch, but it's kind of funny either way that it's a bit fucked up. CRW has got some style, some beautiful PC98 pixel art, and I do like what it's got going on, and I can appreciate a team of devs trying something new like this and experimenting with gameplay mechanics like these that are rarely seen together. But I feel like this type of game is hindered by the technology of the time. It's just way too fucking slow, man. Glacial. I would love to see a modern interpretation of this game because I think that would be really fun. One without the tech limits. As I said at the start, something like this was seen again in 13 Sentinels, and that game is fantastic. And I think there's a lot of potential in another game revisiting the approach that CRW Metal Jacket took.